Mik'd Up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie boy.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good time. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in, say,
oh, God.
So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in a headlock. And he's sitting there. Helmet. He's punching me in the stomach, like steady punching me.
Here, and there's everyone sitting around. Who here thinks Ovchinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team
6 minutes.
for 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ovchinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. I fucking saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
Be on the Spirit plane had some issues. I think she was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time to start the show.
I don't want to eat.
Why would I have that?
You had the circus or something.
6:03, I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
In the SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here.
Yeah,
like they're
all fatter than I am.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Good afternoon. Today is Friday, April 28th. We have a big show for you today. We're going to preview the LSU weekend between LSU and Alabama. Sneaky, we talked about this earlier in the week. Alabama is a sneaky, tough team. They are 9-9 in conference. We're going to get into all of the ins and outs of what to expect, the matchups, the rotation, everything that's going on this weekend. We're going to get into that today. NFL draft started last night. Saints, shockingly, I think to a lot of people, did not trade up, which people thought that they could. I think this draft is very interesting. I've been looking forward to this because there's not really a lot of, outside, I guess, of the, really, honestly, the top 3 spots, you really just didn't know who was going to draft what. A lot of needs. There wasn't really people who separated themselves. Players didn't really separate themselves in the draft. A lot of talented guys just didn't know where they're going to land, so it's kind of been intriguing. Saints love to trade up. They did not trade up. I think they realized that Brian Brazee, it's not Breezy, it's Brazee, was going to be there at 29.
Brazee.
He was there at 29. They drafted him at 29. I think it's a great pick. They needed defensive line help. He brings that help immediately. He's a big dude. He had a little injury issues. I know people are going to roll their eyes because, oh, here we go again. We're going to draft a guy, injury issues. We've had that the last 3 years on defensive line. I think let's give this guy a shot. I think he's going to be really good. We're going to get into some of the other picks, some of the stuff that we saw on draft day, that we didn't see on draft day, that we may see today. Project the second round. It's second and third rounds today. So the Saints have the 40th pick and the 71st pick. 40th pick is obviously in the second round. 71st pick is in the third round. Who are they going to go? I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to find out. LSU, nobody drafted in the first round as expected. I don't think anybody thought BJ Ojulari had the opportunity, had the best chance of getting drafted in the first round. Did not get drafted in the first round. You can expect him probably to go here in the second round. I would love to see that. Obviously, Kayshawn was coming into last year, they thought he was going to be a first rounder. Definitely was not a first rounder. Projected to go around the 5th or so round. We'll see how that goes. He won't get drafted on day 2, probably day 3, maybe day 3, hopefully day 3. But it was all in all, it was a good draft. The Texans are trying to make themselves real. They went and got C.J. Stroud. They also traded up again and got this number 2 and number 3 pick. They had a lot of draft capital to be able to do that. So they go up there and they get C.J. Stroud to be their franchise quarterback, and they go ahead and they get Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama as a 3rd overall pick to be their anchor on the defensive side. DeMeco Ryans obviously is their head coach. Played at Alabama. He was an All-American.
Drafted by Texans.
Drafted by the Texans. It just makes a lot of sense.
Same coach.
Yep, same whole deal. Whole deal, right?
That's what I was about to say.
Like, the whole thing.
Yeah, you think...
It's like he saw himself again.
Yeah, you don't think DeMeco talked to Nick Saban? It's like, we're going to get with Will. It's like, you could go ahead and take him.
No doubt.
No, not you can go. You need to trade back up. You need to get back up into that spot.
And honestly, I don't even know if DeMeco had to call him. I think DeMeco's like, we need to get him. Yeah. Like, I know him. I've already know the ins and outs.
However you can get him, you need to get him.
And they went and got. They had two overall. Didn't trade out of the 2 overall. Got their quarterback, and then they go and get the 3rd overall pick, and they get
holy smokescreen season. Jesus, poor C.J. Stroud got dragged through the mud for no reason. Like, we're just going to take him to whoever was putting that information out.
I tell you this: they did a masterful job of being like, I think I don't know if we really want to go quarterback, and then they get back into the spot and draft a quarterback, and now everybody thinks, they're completely off. We're good. And they probably over-offered everybody just to get back into that next spot. Yeah. And everybody's like, oh, shit, I didn't realize somebody was going to do that.
No doubt. I like what they did. Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles are technically just drafting the entire Georgia defense, which would
not a bad strategy.
Based off the last 2 years, is not a bad strategy.
Clear-cut career path at this point, right? ESPN top 300. Signed to Georgia,
win a
first
championship.
round. We know where you're gonna go.
Yeah, that's the way it works. So, they have 4 guys.
Get 11.
4 guys from that defensive unit at Georgia are now playing for.
And not just 4 guys. Like, it's like 4 dudes. Like
dudes.
4 straight up dudes.
Dudes.
I'm not sure were they all first round picks, or were they one was a 2nd round last year, right?
Yes, one was a 2nd round.
But they were all like slated for first round. Like,
you have three guys on the front 4.
Yeah.
So their whole front 4 is gonna be for Georgia guys. Like, they're all really good. They've all performed really good. It's an NFL system. They're going to the NFL. I think that's a good move by them. Moving away, finishing these Heineken headlines. Moving away from football for a second. Haley Van Lith makes it official. She is now an LSU Tiger. She's coming here. Seems like there's a couple more things that are going to happen in the portal for Kim. I think she's building a super team. Looks like they're going to be the favorites to repeat. But we shall see.
And people are pissed. They're so mad at LSU. If you're not an LSU fan,
well, let me tell you what.
LSU is like enemy number 1.
Well, and here's the deal: the NIL stuff has been. Everybody thought it was going to help football. It's going to help this. NIL and LSU, like the top NIL earners are all females from LSU. Yeah. So that is, if you're a female athlete, they've obviously cracked the code on how to get you the most out of your NIL deals if you come here, and that's what they're doing, right? Like, you have, 3 of the girls on your basketball team are all going to be in the top 5 of NIL earners. You obviously have Livy Dunn, who's, I don't think anybody's ever going to catch her because now she's doing...
Yeah, Bronny James.
Yeah, right? Like, that's it, right? So you have those 4 that are really going to just, that's what's going on. What'd you say?
The swimsuit edition.
She was in Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good for her.
Wow.
So they're cashing in on all of those opportunities, and I think that's making it look like, that's why other people are going to want to come here, because not only for basketball, not only were they good, but they're going to come here and be able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness here. But before we get into the draft talk towards the end of the show, we are going to really dive into this baseball conversation, because LSU plays an SEC series today. Starts today.
What time?
7 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and then a day game on Sunday against Alabama. And you're like, Alabama baseball, they're not really great. It's not so fast.
Big series at the boxes.
Big series, right? Scary series. Yeah. Sneaky series. Alabama is 9-9 in conference play. They're 3.5 games behind LSU. At the top of the West, they're 2.5 behind Arkansas. They're good. They're an experienced team. They're a veteran team. Jay came on here on Wednesday and talked about it's basically the same team that they played last year, but just more experience. Yeah. So
I kind of feel like compared to
what?
6 o'clock.
I would
Saturday.
Tonight.
Friday. Yeah.
I
Friday.
would say compared to only because Ole Miss is the reigning national champions, I'd say this is probably their biggest trap weekend, right? Like you go into Ole Miss, you were kind of still on high alert, even though they're not playing very well this year, but they won it last year, and they were kind of doing the same thing that they were doing last year.
And you're on the road, so you always have a sense of urgency on the road.
Yeah, so I kind of like I wouldn't really, but this one right here, after you go there and sweep them, and a team that you've handled pretty handily in the back in the past, and they're playing good ball right now, but it could be very easy for you to kind of not bring it this week. I think this is a big time trap series for them.
Absolutely,
even though it's a top 25 team.
Right, and you play maybe playing poorly midweek helps them kind of get right the ship and say, hey, you know what, can't slow down because listen, this is the dog days of the college season.
Yep,
you're winding down towards the back end of the season. You're playing these midweek games that now it's like they're not as exciting. We just want to get to these conference games. All right, we're playing really well. You've been number 1 in the country all year. There's still a lot to play for, right? Like everybody's telling you how great you are. They understand that. I don't think that they ever buy into that hype at all. But just the natural progression of the season and just being a player like this part of the season is you have to really make sure you're locked in.
I would say it's fair to say because of if you compare it to the major league and or professional schedule, you really get like that August.
This is the August feel.
The whole month of August, you're like, hey, I'm tired. Like it's been long.
Right.
And then when you get to September, it's kind of like, all right, here's the last push.
right?
Exactly. So it's like the push, right? And everyone kind of gets that, and you get it for a month. Well, in college, it's condensed. It's not the same. I would say once they start to get I have to start buckling down. I don't have class because finals is around, which is pretty much like the last 2 weeks of the regular season. That's when they're like, this is the last push.
Right.
But right now, this is the dog days of it.
Yeah, you get through this weekend, next weekend, and then you really start seeing towards the end, and then you start, okay, seasons, now that we have 2 weekends left, finals are over, I'm not in school anymore, and we're in the postseason, and the weather's getting good. That's when you get that little, like, jolt of energy. Okay, now we're back.
Yeah.
Postseason time, whole new season. Let's move on from there, right? But back to Alabama. Alabama they are number 2 in the conference in batting average behind LSU. They hit 308 as a team. Alabama does. LSU hits 320. So they're number 1 team.
Sneaky.
Right? They're also number 3 in the SEC in team ERA. Right? So they're not just going out there and they're not just, winning games by luck or fluke. Like they're playing hot. They've won 5 of their last 6 SEC games. They come in here riding a high. They're coming to play number 1 team in the country, so they know you're going to get their best bullet. And they've performed. Like they've played well. It's not just, we're going to try to upset them. Like, no. We're feeling real confident about this. Now you have to face Paul Skeens tonight. And I felt like, before last weekend, Paul Skeens was like, not struggling. I don't ever want to say struggling. I read an article today, and they're talking about, Paul Skeens has been battered a little bit the last couple outings. And they referenced, this makes it just so funny because, like, when you write and you like, journalism is great, but there's ways you can like spin it, and there's context behind a lot of the things that are being written, right? So they talk about, Paul Skeens has kind of been hit a little bit lately. The ERA is still sub 2, by the way. And they brought up the South Carolina games. You give up 2 homers against South Carolina, only lasted 3 innings. Yeah.
That's one way to frame your argument.
Exactly. That's one way to frame it, right? It's like, okay, well,
did you watch the game? Do you know what actually happened?
He gave up 2 home runs. Those only 2 hits he gave up. They were both homers, fine. He gave up 3 runs. 1 was unearned, so it's 2 earned runs. Plus, he struck out 8 guys in 3 innings, and there was a rain delay.
That seems all very important to put into context if you're right.
That's the most important. I don't care if he gave up 6 in those 3 innings. Like,
the rain
delay. That's why he was out. It's the only reason he was out there.
And he only had, like, out of those 3 innings, I think he only had 45 pitches thrown or 40-something pitches. So, like, he was gone. He was going to be fine. And, rain delay.
I think he was coming out in the 3rd.
It was just a little bit of a framing issue there.
Yeah.
That was, but like I get it. They're trying to make their point, and they're trying, like, LSU's been number 1. They've kind of been the boring number 1 team in the country because they've been
Is it from an Alabama source?
No.
Okay.
No.
This is, man, I'm just like looking at the series preview. This has got to be probably the best Alabama team that's been there in the past
in a while,
15 and something years, man.
Yeah, they're talented. So you obviously Paul Skeens pitches tonight. He faces off against sophomore Luke Holman. Right now, Alabama's got 4 starters at least on their if you look at all their roster, they have 4 pitchers who have 7+ starts through the course of the year. All 4 of those guys, or 3 of the 4, have sub 4 ERAs. The fourth guy has a 4.1, right? So they've been pretty solid as a starting rotation. So you get Luke Holman, who's starting tonight against Paul Skeens. He's got a 3.1 ERA. He's got good numbers, 53 strikeouts in 45 innings. Doesn't walk. He walks 18. Probably doesn't like that, but not too much, right? He's going to go out there. He's going to put out a good performance, but he's got to go against the A's, right?
That's what I was about to ask you. Is this their typical Friday night guy? Do you know?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
We've seen
It looks like it.
Yeah. Just because of what's happened in the past against Skeens, where you've seen teams almost pitch backwards.
Yeah.
And just throw a guy out there, give you a pound of flesh, and then
So
we'll move on to Saturday.
To that point, if they were going to do that, I think they would have started their Saturday guy today.
Yeah,
He's starting Saturday because you have Garrett McMillan who's throwing Saturday. He's a senior right-handed pitcher. He's facing against Ty Floyd. McMillan's 1-1, but he's only got 10 innings pitched, right? He's not one of the group of 4 guys I was talking about as being a starter or being a guy that's had started games. So I don't know, and I don't know a lot of the background. Maybe he was hurt. Maybe he was supposed to be a starter and he got hurt beginning of the year and whatever. But he is starting on Saturday. If they were going to say, you know what, we're just not going to start our ace on Friday against their ace, I think he would have started it that Friday and put their guy on Saturday. But I respect them going ace versus ace. And
looking on the year, it seems to be that he has been their guy this year.
Yeah.
Right.
3.15 ERA. He's thrown the most innings. He's leading them in strikeouts. You would imagine that's their guy.
And I think that tells you a lot about what Alabama thinks of this series. They're coming in to compete.
No doubt.
Which is now, like other teams have said.
No. Stop. You've been trying to do this for a while.
What?
Other teams have not. Like we've talked about this since the Kentucky thing. Like, you're not going to find that over and over and over where teams are just like, yeah, dude, we don't really have a chance. Let's just punt for tomorrow. Stop. It's the SEC.
Alabama's not doing it.
You are hard on that horse.
Hard
it's
on
not real, dude. Like, stop.
Lloyd
doing that.
he loves to
build a narrative.
Yes, and he likes to think that there's like more going on behind the scenes, like more of like a conspiracy going behind the scenes. Like, oh, we're gonna do this because of that, because of this. Like, bro,
I just think critically.
The game's not that chess.
No,
like,
listen, and look, let's just put it like this. Now, I'm sure the majority of this Alabama team doesn't know this, but since 2007, so we're talking 15 years of playing, right? Alabama's 2-15 series wins at LSU, against LSU, not LSU, at LSU.
Series ones wasn't 2011.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Mikey was part of one of those ones. I'm not gonna. I'll give it that, not me. But since 2007,
Mikey through the series.
They've lost 13 of the 15 series. So they ain't coming here to say, dude, we don't really have a chance on Friday. Let's go ahead and concede when we literally have the best team we probably had in 15 years.
Yeah, right. that was my point. It's like they're not rolling over because I don't think Alabama baseball has been talked about at all. Like,
you think Kentucky rolled over?
They started the season ranked in the top.
Who rolled over? Name the team in the SEC
Kentucky.
that's rolled over. No, they didn't.
It almost worked.
Alabama started the season ranked in the top 25. They're number 21 on the RPI. I'd imagine if they have a solid showing this weekend, even if they don't
I would imagine
win the series,
they think good
ranked.
about themselves. I would imagine they feel their chest is filled up a little bit.
Absolutely. Look, Paul Skeens last weekend looked awesome. I mean, he struck out, 12, 6 innings, struck out 12, did the whole deal. I think you're going to see that again this weekend. Alabama doesn't strike out a ton, right? They've had, like I said, they're offensively, they're second in the conference in average. They have a guy on their team that has 16 homers. Their best hitter has 10. Like, they're going to be competitive. I think Paul Skeens he's kind of like, I don't even want to say he was a slump, but you have a couple outings in a row that aren't up to par that you're normally used to. Last weekend got back on track. I'd expect to see the same thing. I'd expect him to go deep in the game like he normally does, strike out. I don't know, a lot.
We'll go
10
through
plus.
that. Hey, but like you said, dude. So when we sat here, was it 2 weeks ago, and we previewed the Kentucky series, looking at the numbers, all three of us sat here and were like, man, I'm not really that impressed by him. Like, I know they only got 6 losses on the year and they're ranked whatever, but they're not that impressive, right? When you look at Alabama on paper right now, truth be told, you're like, all right, they kind of got a squad. Like, they've got guys who've thrown well. They got guys who've swung it well. They've thrown it well as a team. They've swung it well as a team. Like, it's not just a couple guys. They've done it really well so far this year.
Right.
And that's not what you usually see completely out of a whole Alabama team. They've put up good numbers as a team this year.
No, and it's gonna be a challenging series, right? Obviously, The key is going to be your number 2, number 3 guys. Is Ty Floyd going to be able to do that again? I think I'm a big Ty Floyd fan. We know that, right? I think I love his abilities. I love the way he is able to navigate through some games. I know that if he loses a fastball command, it kind of struggles. But last weekend, it was the best I've ever seen him look. He's 6-0. He hasn't lost yet. Obviously, wins and losses as far as pitchers goes kind of get skewed sometimes because you can pitch the greatest game you've pitched and lose, or you can pitch a game that's not great and the offense scores a bunch of runs and you get you off the hook and you don't get a decision. But last weekend he threw into the 9th, threw really well, and that was a huge thing for the bullpen, right? And the same thing with Christian Little. He's getting to start again in Game 3. He threw really well last weekend, 5 1/3. He only walked one guy. I think that was huge. If he can continue to do that and he can not continue to be
fill it up.
Yep, to be around the zone and not walk guys, I think that's going to be a big thing. I'm curious and interested to see what the role is for Thatcher this weekend. That's what I want to see, right? Because he threw well on Tuesday. He threw 4 innings, struck out. I don't know how many he struck out, but he threw well. It was the best I've seen him throw. I think moving forward, he may be that guy. Like, you're going to be out the bullpen. You're going to start on Tuesdays. You're going to start midweek, and you're going to get 2 or 3 innings, right? That's what you're going to do, and then you're going to come out the bullpen on the weekends and be that power righty.
Come out as the flamethrower.
And so I want to see if they utilize him that way, right? Because
Struck
that's
out
going to be
5 against Nichols. 5 strikeouts, 2 walks.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if the wild card, because I do think it'll be a big storyline if you get it to not be, but is Tommy going to be available tonight?
Right.
If he's not, I'm like, all right, well, he's probably a little more hurt than we thought he was.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Jay
seemed pretty adamant that
he did.
He was going
he said
to
he was going to play this
weekend.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We don't know if it's going to be tonight. And I do think I think it's a big telltale if he's not in there tonight.
Yeah.
Not saying that he won't play on the weekend, but just how finicky whatever this injury is and how maybe it could come back. And hopefully it doesn't,
Yeah, I mean, look, you need him in the lineup. I mean, he's got 3 grand slams this year, which is stupid, right?
Well, it just changes your whole offensive approach with him in the lineup because you see what happens with Dylan Cruz and how it goes down the line as to how you have to pitch the lineup. So it makes a massive difference for what LSU's approach is.
To me, it's so weird because it's like they're still super dangerous without him. Like literally up and down the line, they're still super dangerous without him. But it's when you have him in there, it's like, Jesus, this too?
Yeah.
What do you want us to do with this?
Right.
So like he's a very important part of what they do.
Yeah, and Jordan Thompson, offensively, right? He kind of cooled off a little bit since when he got hot for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Cooled off, happens. I'd imagine he's gonna start getting hot again here soon. Hopefully, he has a good series this weekend. But I'd like to see him start doing this towards the postseason.
Escalator.
Yeah, right. You want to be hitting on all cylinders once you get to the end of the year. Look, Tennessee's back as a contender again. They won last night on another walk-off homer that they hit. They are going to be firmly as probably a 2 seed. I guess if they get hot enough, they could sneak their way back into hosting a regional. But all these teams that you're playing, you're going to be facing them again in the SC tournament. So you want everybody to be doing this, ascending, when it's time for postseason play. And I think that, if a guy's struggling a little bit right now, I'm okay with that. It's not – as long as you're grinding out and you're putting out competitive at-bats and you're able to have solid weekends, that's how you manage.
Don't fall off the table.
No, that's how you manage, right?
And for Saturday, I know you talked a little bit about Ty Floyd, so I went and looked up Garrett McMillan, the Saturday guy for Alabama. He was their former Friday night guy.
Last year.
Yeah, suffered a shoulder injury in spring practice that kept him out for the first 6 weeks of the season. So he's working his way back.
There you go, working his way back.
A little like Coleman.
Huh?
It's a little bit like a Coleman situation where he's probably been pitching 1 or 2 innings,
Right, so he's starting, right? He's got 10 innings pitched. He's got 10 strikeouts in those 10 innings, but he's also got 6 walks. So he's trying to find his rhythm back on the mound. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so these other guys that were pitching, maybe one of those guys was their midweek starter, right? But they're all competitive. I'm sure they're all available to come out the bullpen. So Alabama's ready. They're equipped. They have the guys. They have the arms. They are ready to come in here and, try to upset LSU because this is a huge moment for them. If they go ahead and win this series and they beat LSU this weekend, they put themselves right in the mix to win the West.
If they were to sweep LSU, they're a game behind them, I think.
Right.
If they were to win the
half
series,
a
game behind them, if they were to win the series, they're right there.
Yeah.
A game and a half.
And they'll be second. If they win the series and Arkansas loses their series, they're in second place.
They've come into this weekend and everything that they've wanted to do on the season is still ahead of them. Like, legit.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that they have to go undefeated to do it either.
I said they've won 5 of their last 6 SEC games. That is true, but they've won the last 5. Yeah. So they lost that one, that Friday game, 2 series ago, and they've won 5 straight. So playing great baseball. Playing really good baseball.
Take it to Samford. They get a hot 8th inning.
What's that?
Their midweek game, they were able to rally and get a hot 8th inning to 10-run Sanford. So, they're not stumbling right now.
It'll be a good series. It'll be a much better series than when the schedule came out, you probably assumed it would be.
Because this is the part of the schedule that every LSU fan looked at and be like, all right, it finally calms down. Yeah. That is not the case.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, look, it's going to be LSU needs to play better than they've been playing.
I would imagine you would get the caliber of baseball you thought you were going to get in the LSU A&M series to start the year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got A&M when they were a little down. They were a little hurt. They weren't exactly hitting on all cylinders. They're playing a lot better right now. I would imagine what you're going to get this series is what you thought you were going to get in that series to start the SEC slate.
Right. LSU needs to run the bases a little bit better.
Yeah.
They need to play. They need to continue to play defense. No, obviously their defensive. They need to play good defense.
There you go. Yeah.
They have to make sure they're sharp.
What they've been doing.
Yes, defensively. Kind of how they started the season. Because if not, you're going to put yourselves in a position where a team that is scrappy and that's good offensively is going to be able to scratch across some runs, and you don't want to have to rely on. Jesus Christ. My phone's ringing.
No, we can rely on Jesus Christ. He does a lot for us.
We definitely rely on Jesus Christ. But you don't want to rely strictly on your bullpen.
I agree.
Praise be.
I would love to see the tone setter have a great weekend this weekend. Like, I do think he's done a great job of taking that leadoff spot by the horns. If you can get Gavin to have a great weekend this weekend, I do think it could be really, really fruitful for the team.
What would you what percentage would you put on him health wise?
I think he's fine. I think he's fine.
Because I might dig up the offensive number since his return from the shoulder injury. It seems like he's laboring a little bit.
He only played 4 games.
Yeah, I know that. But I'm just saying it doesn't look like he has the same confident swing he had, and I'm wondering if it's a shoulder thing. That's all I was wondering.
Maybe I don't think it's a shoulder thing. I think it's more of just he's been out. And
I think if he's in there, you got to imagine he also skipped the weekend, but he played this midweek game. Mm-hmm. So if it was really still bothering him, I think he probably would have given him a day because they gave other guys days that day. So I think the shoulder's fine, but like you said, it's crazy what'll happen when you're going good, you're playing well, and then all of a sudden something happens and you don't swing a bat for 5 days, and you come back and you're like, oh shit, dude, this is weird. Like, why? Like, I was hitting on all cylinders 4 days ago. Right. Why is it not there? So it may take him a couple days, and it may have taken him a couple days to get back into it. Hopefully he's back on track this weekend.
Agree.
Because that said, and I'd imagine we see, just to house clean up, I'd imagine Trey Morgan's healthy, that was just a rest day.
Yeah, I think it was a rest day.
And so you'll see the real only question, I guess, Paxton probably won't go. Your real question is just Tommy White and see if he can go. Probably if he doesn't go today, that's what, like you said, that raises some issue.
I think if he doesn't go today or tomorrow, you'd hope that he gets in there.
You think he DHs him?
Maybe. Maybe that's an opportunity for him to DH. But at that point, now you're taking a lefty bat who's been hot out the lineup.
Yeah.
And Beloso.
Cade has to stay.
That's my point. So you need to put him he needs to be able to play third so that you can keep Cade in the lineup because he's been swinging a hot bat.
Not just that, we don't know what side it is, so it could be on the side his back leg, which is probably more stressful swinging than it is actually playing the field.
Right. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a good series, though. I mean, it really is. It's gonna be a fun series. It's anytime anytime they play, there's more intrigue because of the name. But when Alabama's good in baseball, it makes it more fun. Yeah. You just have that. I remember we played. I think it was 2010 at home, and we beat them on Sunday on a Dozar hit a walk-off homer.
Yeah, they had to be them because
in 2011 we went back to Alabama.
Yeah, I remember in 2009 probably the worst, the most upset I think I've ever seen Maneri. We talked about it when we had him on here about that time. It was someone thought I was on first or I was on second. Someone thought we had gotten a walk. Whoever was hitting thought we had gotten him. Yeah, and I think he kind of went to second.
Oh no!
And he absolutely lost it.
Lost it.
I'm talking like lost it. Like that's of all things I heard from Coach, of all things I've seen him mad about, and I wasn't even the one that he was fussing at that point. Somehow I don't know why I did it right, but I just happened to.
Well, you just stayed pat?
Yeah, I did. For what I was like, why are you coming over here?
Go back.
Yeah, so whatever. But when I saw him get that mad, that's the one thing that, like, above pretty much everything else throughout my entire pro ball career that stuck with me. When I saw people get walked, I was always like, all right, let's go now. Like, you're not about to backpick me right here. Ain't getting it. That ain't happening.
Who got the
like
ball?
that one legit scarred me, and I'm like, yo, I wasn't even the one that got yelled at.
Honestly, I don't even remember the 09 series at Alabama.
It was a good one.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
They had Rutledge, they had Duga, they had Wilson.
You know, the story for not on air happened in the outfield. The most reckless.
I thought that was South Carolina to you.
No, the most reckless heckling I've ever heard in my life, or reckless. Yeah,
You're talking about was that to you or to Sean?
No, it was to me. In the
I
outfield.
don't remember.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
We'll talk about it.
I'm not telling that story.
I don't remember the series much. I know they had Kent Mathis on the team. They're good.
Kent, Josh Rutledge, they had a good team that
Wilson.
year. Yeah, Zach Wilson. Not Zach. Ross.
Ross Wilson.
I played with a Zach Wilson too. Ross Wilson. Yeah. Yeah, Hoover High's best. I hope he's
some
listening.
other guys too.
Hope he ever
they were
catches
good.
this.
They were good.
Kent led that year. Kent
28
led
home runs.
he led the nation in homers that year.
Yeah.
They had a good team that year.
Yeah, they did.
I think no, I wasn't. It was my freshman year. I still had Tommy Hunter in the
Y'all
back.
took 2 or 3.
Yep.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. We only lost one.
Well, we went there and
series that
smacked
year,
them, but they was good. They had a good team there. Some good players on that team.
Yeah. It'll be another interesting. It'll be another entertaining series.
Wait, Taylor was on that team too.
Do you?
Yeah,
He was a freshman.
and he hit 600, something crazy
He almost
like
hit
that.
400 as a freshman. He could hit, man.
That motherfucker could hit, man.
He could fucking hit.
He could hit, bro.
He was the first guy I ever saw that had like the permanent callus on his hand from like the knob of the bat.
Oh yeah.
Because he worked at Northwestern State whenever I was there.
Yeah.
And so like that's a lot. That's reps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew exactly what it was. Like, goal.
He could hit. Smart baseball player.
He's a better guy.
Great dude.
Lived on the barrel.
Yep.
His address, barrel.
Barrel Lane.
All right, so before we move on to the next topics in the NFL draft, let's talk about what we think is going to happen as far as predictions go.
Around the league? Or this?
Picks to click?
We could do LSU and we can go
Well, we
around
did it
the
last
league.
week, and we were pretty spot on.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do around the league. Let's see. Let's pull up the schedules. Okay. Don't love that I have to continue to log in every single time.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Brutal.
But while y'all look around for the schedule, I'll take this time to do a little house cleanup. FCO development.
There you go.
Wow,
Brings
look at
you-
Lloyd. That's firm right there.
The show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're thankful for their service. If you want to get in touch with FCO, I hope we updated the phone number. Did we?
Yes.
This one right?
Yes.
Okay. If you want to get in touch with FCO Development, FCO Solutions, always go to their website. You can go to their website, or you can call 337-534-4675. FCO Development is a civil construction company specialized in multifamily construction, site drainage, site utilities, earthwork, site clearing, house pads, ponds, demo work, and even hurricane cleanup. So, call today, or call whenever you need them, 337-534-4675 for FCO Development. And ask for Tyler Leday.
There you go.
There we go.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You did good.
All right, I
Kid can read.
Right now.
Kid can read. Kid can't even read.
Kid can't even read.
All right, so
found
the matchups that we have this weekend.
Yes.
Mississippi State's at
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Tennessee walked them off last night.
That was an SEC game they played last night.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if they swept.
Swept Tennessee.
No,
Yeah, Tennessee swept
them,
Mississippi State.
but
Yes.
Tennessee won in the series.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. A&M is playing at Arkansas. That's a big one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. What do you got on that one? What's your guess on that one?
So
you got
Arkansas
A&M playing a really good ball, and
Arkansas
just got
won last night. So the first two
Those two
matchups,
are
they
last
both
night.
played last night. Arkansas beat A&M 7-5 last night. I hate to say it, but I think Arkansas takes the series. I
gonna
think
say
A&M wins one of the games.
I'm going to say
Hopefully they
Arkansas
win.
takes a series, A&M salvages and gets one. But A&M's been super hot, and the reason why I'm saying is because usually at some point like that kind of ends. Like I think they've won their last 4 or 5 series. I think they lose this series, but I think they play really good baseball the entire series. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah. You got Auburn, South Carolina, Alabama, LSU, Kentucky, Vandy. Kentucky, Vandy is an interesting series. Missouri at Florida, and Georgia at Ole Miss. Georgia's been playing good baseball. I'd imagine. Honestly, I'm going to say Georgia's going to win that series. I'm going to say Vandy's going to beat Kentucky, and I think Florida's going to sweep Missouri at home.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think Vandy wins the series against Kentucky. I wouldn't be surprised again if you see a sweep there with Vandy. I'm going to go Florida wins the series against Missouri. And I'm going to go, as much as I don't like this, I think South Carolina might sweep Auburn.
Yeah, I think so too.
Are they
I
at
think so
home?
too.
Yeah, and I think
South Carolina's at home.
And I think Georgia wins the
Do they
series
only play at home?
against Ole Miss.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all that. We'll see. Last weekend we're pretty spot on. The standings kind of got real muddy now.
I literally almost picked all home teams.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it
Wasn't
works.
purpose, but that's kind of how it goes.
That's the way it works. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. LSU, obviously, the most important thing is just them to go ahead and win the series. But SEC has been entertaining. All right, we're going to take a minute break before we get to the back end and we start talking some of the NFL draft. You're watching Mik'd Up. We're brought to you by all of our sponsors. Heineken,
Every single one of them.
FCO. We have another one coming up here soon. We're not going to announce it until it's official, which is nice. Love if you're thinking about sponsoring or if you're interested in sponsoring, go ahead and give us a shout. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're watching Mik'd Up. We'll see you in a little bit. Break. I want to give a shout out to, like I said, we talk about us getting new partners, new sponsorships all the time. We have a new sponsor, and you've probably seen them on the top left corner in the little spinner logo. FCO Solutions. Our friends on at FCO, they're out of Lafayette. They're a civil construction company. They specialize in new multi-family construction, right? If you don't know what civil construction is, it's okay. Probably a lot of people don't understand it. They basically get the land ready to be built vertically, right? I'm giving you a little bit of a construction lesson here. I don't know much about it. I've learned it on the go, right? They specialize in site drainage, site utilities, earthworks, site cleaning, house pads, ponds, demo work, and hurricane cleanup. So they do anything that involves dirt, basically, or the earth. And a lot of that gets done it has to be done before you are building whatever development you are trying to build. So our friends at FCO have been fans of the show. They are really, really good people. They're down there in Lafayette. If you know anybody from Lafayette, you do know me. Mitch is from New Iberia. I'll consider that Lafayette's 337 area code.
There you go.
337 area code. They are unbelievable people. They do a very, very, very good job, and they are committed to growing and being the best at what they do. So I just want to give a shout out to our friends at FCO. I know that they listen. Appreciate you guys. We are going to be great partnerships. Maybe you're gonna have. Are you gonna have a Heineken Silver for the game? Maybe.
I kind of want one now.
You gonna shotgun another one?
You want another? I don't know if you should shotgun because we saw how that went last time. You
I don't know.
won.
I feel like you got to redeem yourself.
If you can have a drink, I don't think you should shotgun it.
The way it went,
I'll enjoy this one.
I think you should chug it, but maybe not shotgun it.
the way it went last time, it's
Yeah, I can do. I mean, I can do anything. I know. All right, fuck it.
All right, go ahead. Go for it. There.
All right, that's much better.
1, 2.
Open it up a little bit. You know what I mean?
5, 6, 7, 8,
Okay.
9,
Okay.
10,
Now it's starting to drip.
11,
now you're struggling a little bit.
12,
It's pretty good.
13.
13
Not bad.
I'll give you
Not
a
bad.
12 and a half seconds there. How was it? Was it good?
Delicious. You
It was
can't
very
do that
With a regular one.
with a regular one.
Right.
You can only do that with the silver.
With the silver, why? Because the silver's lighter. It's got
Lighter.
95 calories. It's pretty crisp.
I res-
That wasn't even cold. I know you don't necessarily need a cold beer. That was room temp.
That's
But
the
I respect how
fraternity days
quickly
to
you
me.
turned around and gave me a full sentence. That was quick.
Oh
I like
yeah,
that.
No
officer,
doubt.
I'm fine.
Respect that.
You've been
Walk the
around
straight
before.
line, kid.
Yeah,
You've been around before, but
it's just breakfast.
It's a very good beer.
It
It's a
is.
very light beer. It's something that you could
Easy to drink,
easy to drink,
easy to pour.
Yeah. But it's something that I think it should be in the rotation at tailgates, especially with LSU baseball coming up. We'll get into some of the LSU baseball conversation. Dozy Place is located on 3723 Government Street. Everybody knows about their Wall of Famous steaks and their hot tamales, but what you may not know is that they're open for lunch every day from 11 to 2. Great people, great environment. Their lunch menu is fire. What's the best thing on the menu?
If you haven't tried it yet, you need to try the burger. Unbelievable. Best burger in town.
Best burger in town. If you're looking for lunch, 11 to 2 at Dozy Place. Again, they're located on 3723 Government Street. Give them a shot. Actually, you know what? Let's go. Ask Mikie and Mitch right now is brought to you by our friend. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. As we do every Friday, it is Lloyd's tradition, our tradition for Lloyd to chug.
To get on the wagon.
To get back on the wagon for the weekend. It has been the good luck charm for our friend Dylan Cruz.
That's the real reason I'm doing it.
It allows us to have more booze cruise over the course of the weekend. So what we do...
It's a gateway booze cruise.
It is a gateway booze cruise. What we do is one of our partners, sponsor of ours, is Heineken Silver. Heineken Silver is Heineken's version of their light beer. It is 95 calories, 4% alcohol. It tastes really good, actually. It is something that should be in all of your tailgating rotations in your ice chest. And so what we do is every Friday, Lloyd takes one of these Heineken Silvers that we put into the refrigerator and make it nice and chilled for him. And
because the hot beer was the
hot beer was not good.
Goes down easy.
This one goes down easy. So what we do is we allow him to chug one of these Heineken Silvers on air as a good luck charm for
Dylan Cruz. Because the proof is in the pudding.
The proof is in the pudding. So let's go ahead and do it.
Had he not gone nuclear hot, I would not do this again.
Yep.
But it turns out it's for the betterment of the team and for Dylan. And
you hear that?
When DC signs one overall, I don't want him to forget.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know if y'all saw this. That's going to get real interesting. They have extended Brian Reynolds.
That. They extended Brian Reynolds for 8-year deal.
They have extended Brian Reynolds.
And they're playing good baseball.
They are sneakily in.
They're good.
They're playing good baseball right now. So, do you want to add to it or do you want a pitcher to come in there and be the guy? Here we go, though. Okay, now you're going to have to lift up. You have to get down or something. You have to get a little bit better. There you go. Ready? Go. Go.
And he's going. And he's going.
And he's off. And he's off. And he's off. And he's off. You're technically not in the line of sight, but that's okay. You have a little bit. You have a little bit of a. You have a little residue. Let's get it out of there.
Don't try to give me that shortness. We're gonna get you to go to one knee from here on out.
Yeah.
Free him.
We also need to. He's technically not. He's still free, actually.
He's still free right now.
Jameer Gibbs.
He's not. He's free.
Jameer Gear's not free because he's not. Yeah.
Wants.
Right.
Dude, it being cold makes such a difference.
It makes a big difference. How'd it taste? Was it good?
Delicious.
Does it make a difference too to not have your gum like right on the top of your tongue?
Yeah, there's been a lot of trial and error. We've worked through this thing, and now I feel very confident doing it.
Lloyd, no one who's listening to this believes that your trial and error started here on the.
No, it started about 12 years old.
No one here believes that, so we can go ahead
I'm
and
not a
sell
big-
that. Stop selling that.
I'm
drink.
not a big beer drinker, so it's back on the wagon. And in fraternity, we had to we had to funnel whiskey and Coke.
He said, "What are these?"
Whiskey and Coke.
Yeah, it's
Funnel,
aggressive.
whiskey, and Coke.
That's your family.
That's aggressive.
Let me tell you something.
Oh,
that can take you down quick, Coach.
Oh, at midnight, we had people. It was like storming the beaches in Normandy.
I don't think you should be saying that.
The statutes of limitations have passed.
Okay.
I'm not. I got called into standards so many times because I would just be like, I don't care.
I don't know what that means.
Like,
What does that mean?
Like
I don't know. Who's standard?
Like the parole board.
For your
So like compliance.
School.
So you went to compliance.
Yeah.
For the school.
Yeah.
Not like just for your fraternity, just for the whole school. Like for all the fraternities in the school.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're not just. It wasn't like I'd imagine not every individual fraternity has their own compliance
because there's no way they're doing the work.
Yeah. Well, they're not complying with anything. I don't think.
But I was. There were some rumors around what was going on in the fraternity houses. Like I've never been uncomfortable here, and that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I love it.
There you go.
I love it here, except for when our house mom died and we didn't find out for 3 days. That was tough.
Oh jeez.
I mean, really? Did you? How's that happen?
I don't know. We hadn't seen her for a minute, then we started to smell, and it always smelled.
Nah.
But it started to smell a little different.
Nah.
Wait, she died in the fraternity house?
She was there on the couch for 3 days. We didn't.
That's not real.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
No way.
100%. Steel
truly-
Henry walked in on her and found her.
I truly don't believe that.
What?
She was on the couch.
stiff as a board, and she has her own room, so she was on the couch in her room. We don't go in there. We leave her privacy, and then we're like, dude, we haven't seen her
do
in
not
days.
believe that story. I don't.
You're lying.
I'm telling you 100% the truth.
How is there not some huge investigation?
She died of natural causes. She just
How is there
died.
not some huge I don't believe that.
Damn, was she old? Like old?
No, not really. It was kind of crazy.
That's really sad.
It is
Yeah,
sad.
condolences to her family. Wow.
And yeah.
You think she's the ghost lives in there?
No, that's Monroe. If he's not alive, I don't know if he is or not, but he would just say, all right, and he'd mop the carpet. And we're like, I don't think that's what we're supposed to do with that mop. But he wouldn't stop, so we let him do it.
He mops carpets.
Yeah.
There's no way that house smelled good.
No, that's why we couldn't smell a dead body.
That's unbelievable. All right, let's get
Shout
to
out Kappa Sig if you want to have a good time.
let's get to the football conversation.
Not a story I expected to hear.
No,
today.
not at all. Obviously, NFL draft's going on right now. Before the NFL draft started, Lamar Jackson came out and said they agreed to a deal. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to the team for not having the fans burn down their facility and not signing Lamar Jackson back. Not only do you sign Lamar Jackson back, you have Odell, who they have signed. They just drafted another wide receiver. You're not your favorite wide receiver.
No.
What do you don't like about him?
I just think he's feast or famine.
Where?
Right?
Feast or famine? How?
By the numbers, I just think he's a boomer bust type guy, and that's if you're Baltimore, I feel like you want some consistency in the receiver room, which they haven't had yet with Lamar, and it just seems like that's not the safest pick.
So what about?
You talking about Zay Flowers not being a safe pick?
Yeah, but
Oh,
what?
Who? I thought
Yeah,
they.
no,
I'm
no,
talking about
no.
the Chargers pick. No. Zay Flowers, I love. Zay
Okay.
Flowers is fine. A great pick. Boston College. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
It
but
was
Flowers
the
is
next
good.
pick
Yeah, what?
that. What is Quentin Johnson?
Yes,
That's the one that I was thinking. Sorry, he went to the Chargers. He went to the next.
but he's
pick.
feast or famine to you.
Yes,
I don't think that. I don't necessarily agree with that.
but Zay Flowers, I love.
Okay.
My
Okay,
bad.
what about Quentin Johnson's game makes him?
You knew this
feast
was
or
about to
famine?
happen. By you saying
I need to know.
Oh, I know. I planned on this.
that. Okay.
Oh, you planned on it, so you already got this queued up and stuff.
I just figured we'd talk about it. We texted about it last night, so I figured we'd talk about it.
What you got on it? Let me hear it, please.
Game log, stats. Oh, they're all. Oh, let me go to college. He doesn't have anything in the league yet. He hasn't even shown up.
I mean,
TCU 2022. So, I don't know, where is it? Game by game is what I wanted to find.
Have you looked this up already?
Yeah, but I forgot to put it in the document.
So does this validate your point or not?
Well, I
validate?
mean, the
that means
my
no.
bigger point, yeah.
That means it's in the middle
I'll find
somewhere.
the stats and you can defend him if you want. But when you go 1 catch for 3 yards in the biggest game of the year, tells me a little something.
What
Does
does
it?
the quarterback do?
Big 12.
Does
What's
it?
the quarterback do in the biggest game of the year?
Fucking balled out.
Guy can't throw and catch.
Balled out
catch.
where?
He just tried his heart out.
But
He was
what his
overmatched.
numbers? You have his numbers, don't you?
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now.
What were Max Duggan's numbers?
He was 14 of 22 for 153 yards. He got sacked 5 times, and he had negative 38 rushing yards.
Is that good?
No
So-
touchdowns thrown.
It's hard for a receiver
Yeah, I
to
mean,
throw
he
the
turned
ball.
Doesn't
into-
sound like he had a lot of time to get to a receiver to me. That's
Yeah.
just to me.
But let's hold on. Let me get through. Let me find these stats, and then we'll do it. Game log. Here we go. NCAA football. So, obviously, he has the big game against Michigan.
What did he do in that game?
Max Duggan balled out.
No. What did he do?
He had
in that
6 for 163.
game? Okay.
Pretty good. How many touchdowns?
1.
Okay.
And then he goes in the regular season
What did he do the game? What did he do the game before that? Because that was a pretty big game too.
in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship. Shout out that girl that won it, and they tied, and then they had a tiebreaker. 4 for 139.
So in 3 of the biggest games of his life, he had 2 of the best games of his life.
Yeah, so
Okay,
did Max
okay.
Duggan.
I'm just checking.
And then he goes 4 for 48,
Okay.
3 for 66,
With what?
4 for
with
76.
What? With what?
One
66 with what?
He went 4 for 48, no touchdowns, 3 for 66 for 1 touchdown, 4 for 76 with a touchdown, 4 for 74 with a touchdown,
Okay.
8 for 180,
With the what?
1 touchdown.
Okay.
14 for 206.
With the what? With the what?
1 touchdown.
Okay.
But then this is what I was talking about: 4 for 41, 3 for 29, 2 for
Any
22,
touchdowns?
3 for 22, no touchdowns. So he is a big feast or famine guy to me, and I just don't know what the Chargers.
Looked like he feasted a lot to me.
He had some big games, that for sure. But 3 for 22 ain't getting you drafted. But 14 for 206 will. I would like to find something in the middle there. That's all I was saying. It just reminds me a lot of the old Baylor offense whenever they would grab
Look, I get what you're
name.
saying as far as them not like the Baylor receivers never panning out because of
The
the
office.
system.
You-
Right, I get
but
that.
say, did you hear what it is about the Baylor system too? Though apparently, like the way they ran stuff, like these guys, who was it that told the story? Someone told a story about kind of how Baylor went about stuff. Apparently, like they weren't learning anything.
Nothing.
Meaning, like when they got to the league, the way they called plays at Baylor was so elementary that it was like NFL dudes was like, dude, I don't. If you got to be taught this, it's gonna be tough for you here. So I kind of understand why those guys struggled so much when they got to the league. I don't know a damn thing about TCU's offense. I just know it wasn't ran straight through Quentin and only Quentin, and he was, So to me, when I look at him, I'm like, I don't know, man. My only concern is this, and I'm being honest with you when I say this. If he's a famine guy when it comes to the league, to me, it's because, well, you got a 6'2", 215-pound, what's his name? Big beard. Keenan Allen already.
Keenan Allen, then you got
got Mike Williams over there. Like, can he get open over and over again in the slot? Or does Keenan move more to the slot and you put him on the outside?
Yeah.
That's my only. I don't think he's going to have a high volume in that offense. Like, you got Austin in the backfield, you got these other two vertical guys, but I do think he's going to play a big part. I mean, it's like the Monstars they got running around.
Yeah,
playing receiver.
I like the pick. I think he's a good receiver. I think he's going to be good, especially in that offense because they're used to having big receivers, and I think it's going to play for him.
And I think he's got a good quarterback too.
Yeah,
if he can stay healthy,
and that helps.
We'll see.
We will see. Bryce Young was the number 1 overall pick, right? He was the one that everybody anticipated having. If you looked right before the draft, C.J. Stroud's odds shot up to minus 2,000 to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. They obviously got some bad intel. Vegas did.
Well, Will Levis went from plus 4,000 to plus 400 to be the number 1
Yeah,
pick.
because that's he was running his mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
And obviously, he doesn't get drafted in the first round at all, right? So Bryce Young gets drafted first overall. I think it's a good move by Carolina. It's the safest first overall pick as far as a quarterback goes. I like Bryce Young. I think he's going to be really good. I think that he does what he lacks in size. He makes up for as far as like his makeup.
yeah, I
his
hate
mind.
that. I hate that the Saints have to play him twice a year.
Yeah, sucks.
I
Hate that.
don't like that.
Hate that. C.J. Stroud gets drafted second. He goes to Houston. And I think that obviously that's a good pick. We talked about Houston. They trade back up to get to the number 3 spot to get Will Anderson. And then the next pick was the one that everybody thought, okay, this is either going to be Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. And you felt like if whichever one didn't get picked had a
It's
chance
gonna be a
to
long
fall.
night.
Can you get the
And-
picks up here on the screen?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you knew if they didn't get picked, it's going to be tough, right? Because there's really not, at that point, there's
We just
really
don't
not-
know where you're gonna fall to.
Yeah, there's really not. There's talks about maybe Seattle drafting a quarterback and letting him sit behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for a second. But they didn't do it. So they drafted Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is probably the most talented guy in the draft.
There was also talks about the Raiders doing it, and they didn't go that route either.
Right. Right. And so he goes out there. He does this thing. The quarterback, the head coach at Indy was the quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator in Philly. Helped Jalen Hurts become Jalen Hurts. And now Anthony Richardson, they're trying to do the same thing with Anthony Richardson. I think that if anybody would tell you Anthony Richardson as far as like raw athleticism and skill set, I think he's better than Jalen Hurts in that sense. But Jalen Hurts' makeup and the way he understands the game and the way he's, his work ethic, that is unmatched. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson does not have that. He may have that, but that's going to be the determining factor on if he can make that big jump.
I think you can make a case for Anthony Richardson being as talented as any quarterback prospect that they've ever had entering the league. I think that's a very, very, very strong case. My problem is when you realize he was like under 60% completion percentage last year in college.
Yes.
For me is if your biggest downfall as a quarterback is your accuracy, is how much better is that accuracy going to get in the league? That is the big question for me, and that's the gamble right there when you take him. Like,
and
can
look,
you coach him up to do better?
Right, and that's the thing.
I don't know.
Do you coach him up to say, okay, listen, it's most of the accuracy comes from your footwork. Let's figure out. Let's tighten up your mechanics. Let's make sure you're in the good position to make the throws, and that creates that helps his accuracy. Like, yeah, that's probably what they're going to try to do, but there's a difference between saying, hey, this is what I'm teaching you, and this is what you're absorbing and your understanding. And like, I don't Right. I'm not saying he can't.
No, I'm not saying he can't.
Know.
I just because I think about
when
I think about Jalen Hurts in college, that wasn't really the question. Oh, he's not very accurate. Oh, he doesn't complete passes. That wasn't really the question on him. So like. That wasn't his jump when he got to the next level.
Right.
No, so now it's can you get someone who hasn't been accurate to be accurate.
As it's
I don't really know anyone in my lifetime that I could think of off the top of my head that was like, dude, he's just not that accurate. So all of a sudden he's the pinpoint guy.
The only person that I would think of, then that's who I was going to reference, is Josh Allen. He got better every year and got more accurate. But a lot, I mean, there's a reason that you're saying it's like you can't really fix accuracy.
I'm gonna be honest.
You either have it or you don't.
I'm being dead ass serious when I say this. Here's my bold prediction, or my bold statement of the day. I'm not exactly sure how much more accurate Josh got. He just got a true number one that came over.
He got a real receiver, yeah.
That's, and I'm not saying that he's not good. He's unbelievably good. I just don't know how much more accurate he got. He just got a dude that came there that's super, 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 super good and is pretty much always open. And he makes contested catches. That helps you a lot too.
So here's my next question: is you'd imagine that they're drafting him to start right away?
Yeah.
They don't have a guy. I mean, they have Nick Foles and Sam Ehlinger on the roster right now as far as quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
and Gardner Minshew.
And Gardner Minshew. So
one of those ain't gonna be there by the time the season kicks
for sure. And like I would imagine if they had to start Gardner or somebody, like they're fine with that as Anthony Richardson continues to progress, but they drafted him to play for year one. They're not. Hey, you're going to be behind a couple years. Like no, you're playing.
And I'll say this too.
They don't have any weapons.
Hey, I'll say this too. If I can think of, and I'm not like, if I could think of someone who was not super accurate in college, and as soon as he got to the league, and he was a super talented player, if your floor is what you got out of Cam Newton, you win with that pick.
Yeah.
Cam was not always a super accurate quarterback, but he was super athletic. He could run. He could do a lot of things. And you got some very, very, very top of the league production for a good while. The shelf life wasn't as long.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you could get that out of him, you won with that.
I mean, I think that's the comparison.
You won with that pick.
Yeah. Like
he's the comp for sure.
That's the comp. Like there's no other comp other than Cam Newton to Anthony Richardson. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. Like
6'4", 244. Ran the 40, 4.43, and jumped 40.5 inches. Broad jump was 10 feet 9 inches.
Richardson.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of which were records for a quarterback.
Yes.
The jumps were. I think somebody ran a faster 40, maybe probably Vic.
Probably so. Yeah. But, I mean, it's going to be – the Colts have something at least to be excited about. But
Cam ran a 4.5, jumped 35, and didn't do the broad jump. So he has better – I mean,
better numbers.
Those are crazy, like – substantially better than Cam's numbers.
Right.
But Cam can spin it.
Cam was a bigger dude too, but yes.
Weird
to say he was bigger, but he was a bigger.
I think continue to go through the draft. I think another one of the things that we talked about earlier is the Eagles are drafting all the Georgia guys, which I think is a good plan for them. I think that
I've been waiting for an NFL team to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes sense.
Well, the Saints kind of do with Ohio State.
Yeah, you could say that. Absolutely, yeah, they do.
But a lot of the Ohio State guys they weren't necessarily teammates on that same team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's just a feeder school.
They just have exactly.
But so they have 4 guys from that defense from the last 2 years that are going to be playing together again in the NFL at all high round draft picks. So, continuity obviously is going to be there. Being comfortable around the guys that you're playing next to is going to be there, and it's a smart move. They're good players. They're not stretching to get someone that
If you had to pick one team that won the draft, you would say the Eagles.
Yeah,
Eagles or Texans.
I would say the Eagles won the draft. I would say maybe the Ravens won draft day.
Yeah, with the
Lamar news and stuff.
I would say the Eagles day one of the draft. Eagles or the Texans, right? Like. I think the Eagles are just adding to what they've already had because they already have a team that's really good, and they're just adding to it. I think the Texans did what they needed to do to build their team, right? Like the Texans, like they were scrappy. They were in some games last year.
Better than you think last year,
right? I think they only won 3 games, 2 or 3 games, but they were in a lot more, right? They didn't finish some games out. Now you have a franchise guy to build around as quarterback, and you have the guy to build your defense around.
With the defensive head coach.
Yeah, and so I think that...
And you still have Stingley there.
Yeah, exactly. So now, you go
got
2 premier defensive guys and 2 straight
You forget about the receiver they have there, too, that came from Alabama last year. Mechie, who was the
Yeah.
lymphoma, I think.
Yeah.
So he's going to be probably healthy and back this year.
Yep.
He's already got continuity with Bryce. Like, that's going to help him a lot, too.
Yep. Kalijah Cansey was a big guy that Saints were looking at. They really want him as a defensive tackle. Tampa Bay drafted him, of course.
Hey, you know what's crazy, too? It's still out there, and I don't know if it's a draft day deal or how it's going to come up. We still don't know what's happened or what's going to happen with DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
Pac-Man is adamant that he's getting traded.
I think what's the holdup is how much of the salary is whoever takes him is going to make or going to be able to convince Arizona to eat and being able to do it. But I think it's happening for sure.
Where do you think he goes?
I don't know, but like I just thought about it because the same people aren't there. Obviously, the owner's the same, but like, bro, what if he was part of the deal or is part of one of the deals that's going to get him back in Houston?
Yeah.
Wow.
That'd be
That's
crazy.
two bold statements of the day.
Wow.
That would be crazy.
Wow.
They did make a deal to get back up. We don't know what the like everything is. We saw kind of what the picks were in the deal, but we don't know if that was it. Because
Right.
it was with Arizona.
True.
What if he was part of that deal?
Yeah. It's
Was
gonna
that
be
Eagles pick
the first Eagles pick was the one they got from the Saints.
and they traded up from it, right?
They traded
Up to 9.
I think they traded up to 9 because they were at
Jalen
10.
Carter,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think they were with the team that was talked about strongly to get Bijan Robinson, and then when he went at 8, I think they just said, "Hey, we got to go up to get the next guy, whoever it was."
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously the Saints drafted Brian Brzee.
Brazil.
They drafted Brian Brzee, which I think is a great pick for the Saints. Now going into the next round today, you have rounds 2 and 3. Saints have the 40th pick and the 71st pick. There's a lot of people still available that are really good that probably could have been drafted in the first round that are still available to get drafted here in the second round. So they have the 8th pick of the second round. So they really can go anywhere they want.
Hey, truth be told, like day 1 is great, but here's where you like really win drafts and win teams.
And this is where the Saints have been so good for so long is drafting in these days 2 and 3
through 4.
and 4th round when you hit on picks in there, because a lot of those guys, especially the guys that go in the 2nd and 3rd, say they had an unbelievable year the year before, like going into the draft, that might elevate them into spots. Say if they don't maybe bomb, maybe they're not as good as what people hoped and or thought in combine and or pro days, they don't drop as far. Like it's the talent level in between those two is the difference is very, very slim. So like you hit on picks in these spots and that's how you win drafts and years and kind of build teams off of that.
That's how the Saints have continued to stay competitive. I wouldn't say it's been their first or second round picks. It's been everything in between. It's been like the 3rd, 4th.
Yeah, like you would love to hit on the first, obviously.
Yeah, but they've continually traded up into the first round, whether they've done it to get Mark Ingram or they traded back in to get Marcus Davenport. But the last 2 years, you can see that was more of a Sean Payton type deal where they traded back into the first round. He did it both for, like I said, Ingram and Davenport. And now you see the Saints kind of they did it last year too to get Trevor Penning.
Right.
And so you see them kind of hold firm and not be as aggressive in the draft. And now you have this is where they make their hay. I don't know why they're so good at it.
They still have 7 picks left. They can make
finally,
a lot of noise today.
It feels good to have like more opportunities to draft somebody because it's where they hit.
No doubt. And so, look, they already went defensive line. They can go defensive line again, maybe get a defensive end, a guy who can rush the passer because you lost a couple guys on that side. Obviously, Peyton Turner's still there, but he hasn't really panned out yet.
Davenport's gone.
Davenport's
I can tell you
gone. Anyamata's gone.
Yeah. Well, see how we're doing this right now? We have no clue where they're going to go. They've done a good job of keeping stuff like that to the vest because, like, you look on the other side and the trade happens between the Packers and the Jets, right? And the Packers are assumed to get – the Jets are assumed to get Aaron Rodgers. They end up getting him. Where everyone knows they're like, oh, they're good at running back. They're good at receiver. They got a really good defense. They have to go O-line. Well, someone traded up and got right in front of him and took an O-lineman.
Yep.
So when you kind of expose yourself, people know what you're going to do, whether you know it or not. And then that's kind of how the thing goes.
Right. And the Saints have been really good at not leaking stuff for a long, long time now, right? Their organization has been talked about very favorably around the NFL as far as like, hey, we keep everything in-house, we keep everything tight, all these types of things. So I think that – if they wanted to draft a quarterback, you have 2 guys that are available that I think people would be okay with. I don't think that they are. I think they're going to go more on the offensive line, defensive line side. I think that they need to go and draft some more, get some more O-line help. So do you have a tackle that you like there? There's a couple guys there that are really good offensive, like guards, that you can go and get. You have the kid from Florida that people are really high on. I think that he has an opportunity to go there. Do you go linebacker? The kid from Arkansas. What's his name?
Sanders.
Will Sanders. Is it
Tyler
Will?
Sanders? I said, he's dead. Never mind. Rest in peace.
Tyler Sanders. I think it's Will Sanders.
Drew Sanders.
There's
a white guy name.
He's a monster. He played really well at Arkansas. I think he had like 10 sacks. He had over 100 tackles. Like nasty. You can go that route. They do need linebacker help.
Yeah.
Then
they
you say
can't
then
go
you
back
have
to back whites.
Then you have Joey. Jeez, dude. Like, what is your deal?
I'm just saying
Who
because
is this guy?
What is your deal?
What's wrong? What the Saints are notorious. Like they're just kind of. Dennis Allen has a type. He likes a hard-nosed football player. I'm just saying, Peyton Turner, Will Sanders, and then you just drafted another, and Brazee. It's just blowing my mind. Usually,
I mean, I think they're doing it based off the talent of the guy.
You are off the rails.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm just
completely off
saying.
the rails.
I mean,
but if they go another, like if you get Drew Sanders,
unhinged.
I think Drew Sanders is good. I'm just saying it's odd.
Why?
Why is it odd? Peyton Turner's not white, by the way.
Is he?
No.
Unhinged. Right?
I mean, I don't understand what you're doing right now.
No, he's not.
I know he's not.
He's got a white name though. But
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Peyton Turner sounds like a. I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you?
I mean,
I'll
Jesus
just cut
Christ.
this part.
No. I think, listen, they have a lot of guys they have available for them to draft in the second round and third round. They have a lot of guys that are rated higher on their boards, I'd imagine, than that pick. You have Joey Porter Jr. still available in the secondary. Do you you hit on some of your secondary picks the last couple years? Do you do it again and you say we're going to build a monster secondary? You look at what the New England Patriots did. They went and drafted a top tier corner. Now go look at their secondary because they understand their division. They understand the quarterbacks that are in their division. They understand it's a passing league. All right, we are going to figure out how to stop you that way and make you do something that you don't really want to do, and that's run the football. And so that's a Bill Belichick move. Maybe the Saints are like, you know what, we're going to do that. But the Saints division likes to run the ball, right? Likes to pound it. They want,
and I think too, like you think about it with the Saints, they have Adebo, who they like a lot, who I would imagine doesn't really translate to the slot.
Alante Taylor,
who's really good in the slot, and then you got obviously your cash cow on the other side. So yeah, you could add Joey, but now it becomes a how do you?
Right.
So like, I think he would be in the conversation.
Yeah.
I really would like to see him go linebacker in this next.
Me
play.
too. They would have to draft him only if the guys that they really wanted were off the board. He was their best available.
Yeah, I would like to see him go linebacker here.
Saints?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Or defensive end. That's my two picks.
Something in the trenches right there. I wouldn't.
What are your thoughts on them going O-line?
I think that
I wouldn't be mad at O-line. I just think that I think personally that they think if they think that Trevor is going to be healthy and progress the way they want him to, I would imagine they won't go that route because that's one guy more that you can for sure have there, and you can kind of add this thing the rest of the way you want.
Unless they love one of those guards,
and
they say, okay, listen, Pete been hurt. You have Ramczyk who's been banged up, who's still young.
Yeah, no,
but
100%.
banged up, and then you have but
that's my point. I guess the way I'm saying it is that depth on the D line and the D front is more prevalent and more important than it is on the O line.
Yeah.
Typically speaking, you would love to be able to have the same 5 offensive linemen play all year. Right, and they can play every play.
You run guys in.
Defensive line, I don't care how good you are. It's actually better for you to be able to rotate and have fresh bodies that are always in great motors, right? So that's where you would actually want it at, right? So if I had to guess, that's the spot you look at first. But if they, don't feel that they are going to be as solid, as healthy, whatever you want to call it up front on O-line, they may go that route.
Right.
But I would love to see him be able to go to the defensive front.
I agree.
I also think too, like when it comes to don't make Derek Carr have to be the star.
Yeah, right.
So the better you are on defense,
exactly.
lower the score.
Exactly.
The better Derek Carr is.
I think that if they based off of their board and their rankings, they probably have, if they're going to go offensive line, they probably have that guy that say, if this guy is available, we're drafting him there at offensive line. If he is not, we're not going to stretch to draft that position.
Yeah.
I think it's like, hey, the only way we draft him is if we have this guy. If this guy's there, we're getting him.
Yeah.
Right? And if not, we're not going to panic draft an offensive lineman because we feel like we need that. I think that there's more needs on the defensive side that they can go after and get. So
there's just more you can do. You give yourself more flexibility when you're really good on defense and you're not asking your offense to put up 35, 40 points a game.
Right.
You're just a better team when you do it that way.
Right. B.J. Ojulari, we would imagine he's going in the second round.
Love to see him at the Saints.
So, I mean, that could be a guy the Saints
They're
go after.
notorious, they notoriously don't do it, but that'd be a great
that could be a guy they go after. I think that, he is a pass rush guy. You know, I think that he had good. I mean, he's talented. He's good. You know, that's someone that they would fit a need for sure.
And to what you were talking about like building up the defense so Carr didn't have to be the star, I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis placed on the offense this year based off the offensive output last year. Because the Saints defense was, probably ranked in the top 10. They didn't give up the very many points. Dennis Allen is still able to call the defensive side. Pete Carmichael is the one who's going to come under scrutiny for whatever kind of game he calls. And if Carr isn't the answer and that the offense looks like it did last year, somebody's gone. And so I don't know if they're going to...
Also, tight end's an opportunity there too, right? Like,
Do they Juwan Johnson?
If they went the offensive side...
Yeah, but he's more of a pass catcher, right?
Like,
you want a guy that you want a every down tight end.
Yeah.
You know, and like be able to use.
Taysom Hill can only play that role for so long.
But he's not every down tight end, right? Like,
no, but he
you want to be able to like put him out there and like, hey, we're gonna get the ball in your hands. Like that's what Juwan Johnson's gonna be. That's what Taysom Hill's gonna be.
That tight end spot's such a wild card spot, and why it's so important is because of personnel groupings, right? If I see you coming on the field and or staying on the field, and I know you can block, like legitimately block and or catch passes. Makes it a lot harder for a defense to be able to call plays based off of personnel groupings when that guy is like always
that's why
on the field.
That's why Travis Kelce and those big tight ends, that's why they're so valuable because
that's why Gronk was so good for so long. Exactly. It was like having another old lineman, or he was beating everyone up and down the seams because he was bigger, stronger, and faster.
Which brings me to my next point, right? Is you have two of those guys that feel like they say it's a very deep tight end draft, right? You had one tight end get drafted in the first round. You have two guys that feel like fit that mold, right? Michael Mayer from Notre Dame.
Yep.
And Darnell Washington from Georgia, right? Everybody knows Darnell Washington because of the SEC and because you played him and he's a monster and all these types of things. He didn't catch as many balls in college as you probably would have wanted to see coming out, but I think that's because of
the other guy,
Bowers,
Brock
right?
Bowers.
Like you have Bowers who was that guy, but you have basically an offensive lineman in Darnell Washington who can go out there and run and catch routes and be a mismatch for anybody.
Yeah.
And so that's guy. Then obviously Michael Mayer's done it for a long time, caught a lot of balls at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's known for putting out tight ends in the NFL, and so
his nickname is Baby Gronk. So
Baby Gronk.
He's
I thought
been
that
known
was taken by that kid.
No, it's been this guy for a while. I honestly do think
this kid is that guy.
I do think if he goes wherever he goes with the quarterback play, I do think he's a guy that blossoms in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's very far and few where you usually see like superstar tight ends in college. I think this is one that transfers to translates to the NFL and becomes
part of Carmichael's like issue has been that he doesn't utilize a tight end as much as like the Saints maybe have in the past, right? Are you trying to compare like both people in the sled?
I'm not doing it. That's already been put together. But yeah, look how like he moved that with ease. So that's Darnell Washington, if you're wondering.
Oh, I thought you were comparing both of the tight ends. I thought they're both.
They are. I don't know which tight end is which. I just know that's Darnell Washington. And you talked about having an inline blocker.
For someone playing so low,
yeah, but
for so
that?
long he plays. I don't know who it is either.
I thought you're comparing.
But it is
that Miami tight end.
Yeah, so not Michael.
He's so long that it's crazy.
And here's Michael.
How much leverage he plays with.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's better. That's getting a little wonky, but
but I mean, this is.
He's a
just
big
stronger
dude,
than everybody else.
Yeah, of course. But Carmichael doesn't use the tight end as much as Sean Payton or some of the others. But on the other side of it,
but Derek Carr does throw the tight end.
I was about to say on the other side of it, Derek Carr loves to throw the tight end. That's a guy Derek Carr loves to have his safety net.
Yeah.
And before Hunter Renfrow got to Oakland at the time, now obviously Las Vegas, Waller was his safety guy. Now Waller's super talented. You bring in Hunter
realistically,
Renfrow,
while
Renfrow
Waller
got-
was healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so he understands the value of a tight end. So that could be a thing. So
I would say the emergence of Renfrow came with the health of
Yeah.
Waller kind of going up and down at that point.
Okay, so let's rank the 3 position, not the player, but the positions of need as far as like who do you think they're gonna go with? Like, give me the top 3. I'm gonna go linebacker. I'm gonna go defensive line, and then I'm gonna go tight end as my top 3 as the 3.
I'm going to unfairly go defensive front, so that could be linebacker, or unfairly go defensive front, or I think tight end. And it's because of where they're drafting at, too, in the second round. Like, I feel like historically, like, you either have a frontline offensive talent when it comes to O-line, or it's not a position that people are necessarily clamoring to get at the top of the second, right?
Right.
So for me, where they're drafting at, I think they're going to go defensive front, tight end to O-line. That's kind of how I see it.
How much longer can Demario Davis continue to play in the middle?
Right.
Not much. That's why defensive front.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. I was just looking up to see how old he is because honestly, didn't know.
33?
34.
34.
So I think they go probably linebacker.
Yeah.
I would imagine to start. Feel like you get 1, maybe 2 more years under Demario, and he kind of
Retires.
retires. But he shows you like this is how you do it in the league. Like he was
Right.
the perfect ambassador to teach you how to play the position.
No doubt.
So that's why I wouldn't be surprised with linebacker.
But we'll see what happens. The Saints always these next 5 rounds are the Saints' moneymaker round. So they got 2 of them. They got a pick in the second, pick in the third, more picks than you thought they were going to have in the draft. They can also trade up. If they feel like there's one guy that they want to go after and get to trade up because he's going to make that big of a difference, they're not scared to do that either. They don't really trade back much.
I couldn't tell you the last time they did that.
They trade up a lot, so we'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be fun. It gives us something. It gives LSU or it gives New Orleans fans, Saints
Something to
fans,
watch.
something to watch. All right, let's before we get to the segments, let's get to our predictions
For LSU baseball?
for this weekend. Yeah.
Picks to click?
Picks to click,
Skiing strikeout.
skiing strikeouts like we normally do,
Mm-hmm. Okay, my pick to click this weekend.
and the series.
Pick to click this weekend. I am going to go with.
I told you I wanted to pick Dylan Cruz last week.
I know, it wasn't fair. He clicked.
Pick to click this weekend. Where do I
I
want
got
to go
one.
with this thing?
I got one.
I got one too.
I hope y'all don't pick mine.
Isn't that funny? I'm hoping he doesn't pick mine.
My pick to click this weekend. Gavin Dugas.
Okay, I like that one.
Do you want to go next?
My pick to click this weekend is Braden Jobert.
Oh, nice. We have 3 different ones.
All righties in the rotation. He hadn't hit a homer in a little bit. He's going to hit one.
I like that.
By similar theory, all righties. My pick to click's Cade Beloso.
Boom. Maybe
like
K gets
that.
to double digits this weekend.
I was DMing him earlier, and I was like, can we get somebody on base before? I was like, I'm tired of all these bases empty grand slams. And he's like, you're telling me. He's like, I would like to get some ribbies, too. So, try to get him to grow a mustache. You won't do it.
Yeah, that's my pick to click. All right.
So, Jobert,
Jobert.
Dugas, Beloso.
Beloso. Okay. What you got? For the
Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens.
Oh,
Give me his stat line.
If,
His whole line.
if anybody wants to go back
You
and
got
look at
close.
last week.
You
No,
got close?
I got super close.
So did
last
he.
week.
Yeah, we were both over it.
Y'all are both literally at the same.
I was really close
You
to it
took
last
what,
week.
6 1/3?
I took 6 1/3
Yeah,
with
he-
11.
You took 6.
I said 5 hits. He gave up 6 hits, and I said 3 earned runs, and he gave up.
I think
3
if you
earned
put
runs.
ours together, if you could
it would
combine
have
them,
been
it would
like
have
the
been
perfect
perfect.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go this week. I'm going to go Paul Skeens tonight. It is going to be
A balmy.
6 1/3, 10 punchies, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned.
Wow. Oh. Okay. So not super dominant start. Okay. I like that.
Perfect weather.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Hey, 1 walk too.
Okay.
I don't know if I can do all the stats like that.
Fine.
I would say I do like
Anything
where your head's,
strikeouts.
yeah, I do like
and
where
runs.
his head's at though, because you broke down the Arkansas lineup. I mean the Alabama lineup, and there's nothing to like throw your hand up in the air at. They can hit, and so I'm not surprised to see it be a little bit elevated. But I think he goes 7 with 12, gets back into like Skeen's form, where it's bye, goodbye, fuck you, goodbye, and then so 7-12, and he probably gives up 2.
So I'm gonna go. I want to go 7, but I'll go 7 in the third.
Give him
Right?
the ovation.
Yep, I'm gonna go 7 in the third, and he's gonna strike out 11 guys. He's gonna give up 2 runs, 1 earned.
Love that. 1 walk, 2 walks.
No walks.
When does he give up the earned run?
Ooh, a no-walk night tonight. I like
No
it.
walks.
Yeah. I can see it because he's a strikeout pitcher. If you go 7 and third, that pitch count's going to have to stay down. It's not going to be
I take that back. 2 earned runs. Not the 2 runs. Both of them.
Both of them are. Okay.
7 and third.
2
11
earned,
strikeouts.
11
2 earned
punchies.
runs. No walks. There we go.
like it.
Yeah, it's time for him. The narrative about him not being like what he used to be is absurd,
I'm not
patently
buying.
absurd.
Yeah, I'm not buying that narrative at all. But I'm giving it one more week of not your best that you've seen from him, and then because I do think there's a serious feel to the. This is August, the dog days feel, and I do think he gets re-energized on the back end of this thing. So I'm giving it one more
Tell
week
you
of
what,
that.
he is due. He is due for like one of those 15, 16.
Yeah, he is
Yeah,
100%. That's why I'm saying I'm letting this.
They're talking about now the
more
conferences are different. Teams that they play are different. But I was reading an article about like them comparing like when Strasburg was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Strasburg had a game that year where he struck out 23 guys.
How many innings did he pitch that game?
I think he won a complete game. I think.
It's funny as hell. Hey, bro, don't bring your
If you're
glove.
not sure,
We're just out here, cuz
if you're not sure, there's only 27 outs in a
Hey,
game.
we
That's
got
Little
9.
League
Listen,
numbers.
we got 9 dudes on the field. It's literally just 2 of y'all playing. I'm just standing out here.
You know how boring that is?
I should have bought a ticket to stand in left field.
23 strikeouts.
It's when the glove ends up on your head. You're just.
It's
like,
not even boring, like because you're in and out. It's really not. It's just like, yo, this is crazy though.
All right, let's get to the Seggies.
Okay.
Can we get to the Seggies?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Dozy Place. Mistake of the day is brought to you by Dozy Place.
Looking through the Seggies, Lloyd.
I know.
Well, I gotta get to keep tabs on a lot of stuff. My mistake of the day, and the mistake of the day isn't on if this is or isn't Sean Payton. That's up for debate because people are conflicted. He did go to Colorado, which makes a lot of sense why he might be ripping the bong, but that's no mistake. I applaud him for that.
It's legal there. It's legal there.
It's legal there. He's like, he's kind of getting ingratiated into the culture. Mm-hmm. The real mistake is the guy that filmed it and put it on Twitter.
Yep.
Like if you're hanging out with Sean Payton at his house or wherever they are, you gotta, read the room. Like if this guy's gonna be cool enough to hit the bong with a bunch of college kids, it's probably his son. They go to TCU, so I'd imagine maybe he has some college kids over.
I don't think it's Sean Payton.
I don't either.
And looks
be hard for me
just
to
like him.
Here, it does, but here's the only reason why I really don't say it. It's really hard for me to believe he'd be
going.
not so much doing
Keep
that
going.
in that setting.
Yeah, you are.
Why would he ever be in that setting? That's what's hard for me to believe.
Pull it out.
And he knows how to do it, dude. He fucking rips it.
Of course he knows how to do it. I hate
Keep going.
I
Keep going.
You're the man. Yeah, you
But this is
are.
what makes you think it's Sean Payton. That looks like him. Just that little shitty dude.
I don't think it's him. But
That's
maybe.
okay.
Maybe.
But if
Even
it
if it
isn't-
is, who cares?
Who cares? Good story. Good narrative.
Good mistake of the day.
Thank you.
All right, Curtain Calls brought to you by our friends down at Assured Partners.
And?
Me?
Okay.
What we got?
Big deals?
Let Lloyd go.
Yeah,
because
well, that's why.
Looking
I know,
through
you're
the
motoring.
looking through the curtain calls. Go ahead and let Lloyd go first. 'Cause
Go
Yeah.
for it.
I think his was put in the wrong segment.
This man took you only get one shot, one opportunity. I don't know how many libations the dad has had, but he's clearly been eyeing down his son's girlfriend for a while. And this is his chance. He took his opportunity.
We talked earlier about how you spin things, huh? This is Lloyd spinning this into a curtain call. This should have been the mistake of the day.
No. Get in there, coach.
Who's got the camera? The real question is who got the camera? Who did that?
Oh, they're video on the TV.
This is the guy video on
No.
the TV, and he just rewound it and showed it again. But, the Van Ness, the whole family is just so many women. And this is the only one he's not related to, and he's just, this is your chance.
That's ridiculous.
That's just coach behavior. He's probably
so
former coach.
Maybe he was trying to get the little hip and she turned. You know, who knows?
A million ways to explain
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Microcosm of
There you
both of
go.
y'all. The supreme optimism here, and Lloyd, the demon.
Yep. What do you got?
I'm going to actually give yours first because mine is, I know where you're going with this, and mine was, I didn't put it in there, but mine was.
Do I? Do you know where I'm going?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know what I was doing. But
That wasn't you that put this one in there.
no, but I'll take it.
Take it, yeah. I think.
All right. So my curtain call is to Will Levis for a couple reasons.
Jacksonville has traded back a couple of times, and we'll
that's
see.
Lloyd's.
That's Lloyd's
The reason
reason.
I'm gonna write is
I guarantee you, Lloyd's not highlighting his suit right now.
Quarterback
Right?
Trevor
Jesus.
Lawrence
Look,
really
look,
came into his own a year ago.
My
Make sure you
curtain call is
protect
not
the
because
horns.
of-
Take care of
not
that young
because of
man
his
that had some
girlfriend.
losses on the offensive
Is
line.
because of how he
Here he
handles
is,
this
Roger
whole
Goodell
thing,
with the
right? Like,
pick.
this
Both
is a
of them
very
together handled
hard
it well.
thing, huh?
I said they both handled it well.
This is a very hard situation for him, and the camera was on his face the entire freaking.
And you could see it on his face, too.
He's
And
like,
it's
look,
still
I don't know
hard.
what to do, but like he handled it really well. It's a tough moment. So my current calls to him. He's gonna get an opportunity in the second round to go somewhere, and hopefully he pans out to be really good. And he's like the Josh Allen type.
Yeah.
And he can look back at this and be like, I told you all I was gonna be good.
Yeah.
You know. So that's my current call.
My curtain call is, look, to add on to that, the good Lord makes no mistakes. This will be a moment back in his life that he'll look at, that he'll understand meant a lot to him in the sense of teaching him how to navigate the rest of his life. My curtain call, though, is because, and I don't mean any shade to this, but two of us in this room have had a chance to be a part of a draft day. It's a special feeling, right? And my curtain call is to everyone who was drafted last night and the rest of the guys who's going to get that feel today and Saturday as well.
No
It's
doubt.
an awesome feeling. So
Yep.
congrats to those guys.
Enjoy with your friends,
the ones
family,
that
or
had it
however else you
already.
wanna
The
enjoy
ones
it.
who are going to experience it today, relish it, and know the story's not over at the same
Yep.
time.
No doubt.
I mean, my name is in the draft. They just got to call it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
there you
Anything's
go.
possible.
Still eligibility. Left
Appreciate
there.
everybody tuning in.
If you want
Appreciate
a Hunter
y'all.
Renfro type for the Saints, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm
for
sure.
half the
You'd be
cost.
decapitated.
Yeah, we love to see that. We actually might get him to run routes here in the summer.
Yeah. I appreciate
Parking lot.
everybody
Hey,
tuning in.
Jay
Appreciate
Mitch
the
said
love
I
and
had
support.
elite ankle flexion.
Good. That helps.
It does.
That helps.
It's not all, but it helps.
Yeah.
Got one thing going for me.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate y'all following us. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you can't watch us and you have to listen to us, we're anywhere you get your podcast. Enjoy the weekend. The weather's amazing today. Enjoy the baseball game tonight if you're going. I will be there. If you see us, tell us hello. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the weekend. We'll see you again Monday in studio live from 6 to 8 p.m. Peace.
Classic move.
Reminds me of that little baby video.
Oh, I was going to say Austin Powers.